at least 32 countries increased various tax rates during the pandemic. India did not. And as a result, therefore, this finance bill has been received as being one of the boring ones, one of the insipid ones, one of them which had nothing great about it. But it is indeed, I would think, a budget which did not burden the common public. I hope I'm able to articulate this fact to all the members that we have taken a conscious position not to fund the recovery through any additional taxes. And that is why last year and this year, the continuity in not bringing newer taxation is something which I would like to place on the record of this House, because I want to draw on the reports which have come out of the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which very clearly said at least 32 countries increased various tax rates during the pandemic. India did not. And as a result, therefore, this finance bill has been received as being one of the boring ones, one of the insipid ones, one of them which had nothing great about it. But it is indeed, I would think, a budget which did not burden the common public, but yet put the money where the multiplier will be the maximum, where the infrastructure creation of assets will happen. And on that, we did not come up with small allowances in the budget, but a big time increase in the infrastructure spending. Virtual digital currency, a lot of members have spoken. One aspect which was raised was government is giving a mixed signal. There doesn't seem to be a clarity. So I just want to say, there is no confusing signals. We are very clear that there are consultations going on as to whether we want to regulate it, as to whether we want to regulate it to some extent or really very much or totally ban it, are all after the consultation which will be concluded, and once it's concluded, the matter will come out. But till then, we are taxing it also because there's a lot of reported activity happening there. A lot of transactions are happening, and from the way the concerns being expressed by several members, there is definitely a commonplace knowledge that a lot of exchanges are happening, people are putting money, people are taking money, people are creating assets, and the assets are being sold and bought. So obviously government made its position clear, saying we shall tax the money being generated out of it, and that is why we have come out with the proposal to tax at 30%. And also the TDS has been brought in. Like always, TDS is more for tracking. It's not an additional tax, it's not a new tax, it is a tax which is going to help people to track it, but at the same time, for the payer, for the person who's paid the 1% TDS, he can always reconcile it with the total tax that he has to pay to the government. Minus it if he's paid more, or add it if he has to pay additionally. We started by saying that we have not brought in extra burden, and I know not just during the discussion of the finance bill, but even otherwise, people have been saying, how could you raise taxes? How could you raise the fuel price? How could you? Sir, global situation, warlike situation, is not a time when we are looking at raising, and it has nothing to do with the election time. This war, which is happening in Ukraine, the impact of that is on all the countries. Supply chains are disrupted, particularly of crude oil and so on. So I would just very quickly recall one based on the crude and the warlike situation, when India is very globally connected in the value chains. If even in 1951, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru could say that a Korean war can affect Indian inflation, I will have to say it, because war anywhere can affect us. Today, in a globally connected day, it will affect, definitely. At that time, did he say, sorry for my Hindi, but the speech was in Hindi, so I'm going to read it in Hindi. Pardon me, those who are Hindi. दाम बढ़ते जाते, quote, दाम बढ़ते जाते हैं, खाने का दाम बढ़ता है, राशनिंग और क्या क्या बातें आई और आपको परेशानी का सामना करना पड़ा। आपने शिकायत की और आपको परेशानी की शिकायत करनी भी है। हम ऐसे जगड़ गए दुनिया के वकायदे में, जैसे वहां कोरिया में लड़ाई हुई, उसका असर यहां पड़, चीजों के दाम बढ़ जाता है। अमेरिका में कुछ हो जाए, उसका असर यहां पर चीजों पर, उसके दाम पर पड़ता है। अनकोट। Korea, America, in 1951, when India was not globally connected, that can be used for justifying a price rise. But if genuinely today Ukraine is hitting us, sir, and if we say war is causing the price rise, it's not acceptable. How can this dogla